Hey campers, George here, back in the man cave, looking at projects, the project box. Yeah, I got a couple. Asked you guys to vote on some and the votes are coming in, so brace yourself. Who knows what you're gonna choose? I'm just looking at these guys. The only reason is I couldn't remember why I put them together. Interesting though, I didn't know this. Let's check it out. So here are these 3 knives I put together. I didn't know why. I do that all the time. I'll be looking through my to-do things and I'll go, oh, that would go good with this. What's this? What's that? I'll look at them and then I go, okay, I need to do this, and I'll put stuff together. And then I forget why I did it. It's an old age thing. So the real reason was these 2 knives. Let me open them for you. Here they are here. Pretty typical 2-blade jacks. Your regular pocket knife, very plain handles, the shape and everything. Now, first question is, what do you call the shape of this handle? I don't know. Need your help on that one. And then here is what I just call a typical pen blade style handle. Same on both ends. And you go, well, what do they have in common? Actually, a lot. You see the tang stamps? These ones here? Camco. Who's Camco? I don't know who they are and I don't know where I got these. So I looked them up and this is what I found out. And speaking of which, this guy's in pretty good condition. He just needs a good shine and sharpen. Very cool knife. I really like this one. It's a nice size. This one is just a favorite because why? Looks like a pen knife, but it's not really a pen knife. This is not a pen blade. This is more of a spear point. But look at it. Look at the other blade. Tool. Whatever. Look at that. That's all that's on it. You got a blade, screwdriver, bottle opener. That's it. Never seen that before on a knife. Thought that was unusual. Then I looked closely and, oh dear. Yeah. Look there. The bolster's missing. See that? I really like this style bolsters and I was like, oh, I didn't see that before. Wait, maybe I did because I put this with them. Now look at this guy. Okay. Kind of sort of similar because of the bolsters. And this is a pen knife. Well, what's left of it. Missing a blade. Huh. A pity because I really like a good pen knife. But look at this bolster. Right? And look at this bolster. Right? So we put that bolster on there. Clean her up, sharpen her up, boom! We got us a nice, unusual knife. But we still have to think about Camco. I found out stuff that shocked me. I didn't know this. Let's have at it. Okay, so we got these 2 guys that we want to fix up. And they are Camco. Now, I looked it up, obviously. You know me. I'm a history geek. Anything I find out about knives, especially old traditional pocket knives, anything unusual that I don't know anything about, I gotta look it up. And I did. And I was pleasantly surprised. Camco. Camco. Huh. Short for Camelus Company, right? Huh. Didn't know that. They had a company called Camco. And you know, I can't walk away from Camelus. It's an addiction. And for some reason, I think I've seen it before, but paid no attention. I thought it was some overseas company. My bad. I did some research. Let's start off on it quickly. We'll do a general overview of what's going on with Camco. Now, as you probably know, Camillus, them guys are a USA knife manufacturer. One of the oldest, if not the oldest. According to this, 1876 is when it happened. Yeah, they've been around that long. They were a fast riser. They really got up there in the knife industry right away. And one of the things typical for back in the day, they became a big manufacturer for other companies. Other companies would come to them and say, this is what we're looking for, can you make it for us? And they did. And they weren't the only guys. A lot of people did that. That's why we have such a problem. We look at a knife and we go, who made this? Well, it's this name on it, but it was made by this guy. Pretty confusing, but if you do some research, you can find out about it. Camillus was around right up until about 2007, and things went downhill and they filed for bankruptcy. And I want to say it was Acme company bought the rights and all that good stuff. It all changed. If you go to Walmart, to a hardware store, or to anywhere that you know sells knives, and you see Camillus, they're all titanium. Pretty cool, right? Well, not my thing. One of the reasons is titanium is very strong, okay? It's a good steel. It's too light. You pick up one of their knives and it's like, it feels dinky. So, I'm not interested in their knives, on the newer knives. I like these guys. They're well made. Camillus actually introduced Camco back in 1948. Yeah, way back, just after the war. Apparently, these are the types of knives they made. Camco was their budget line. These were less expensive. They had the Camillus line. They had the Camillus line and the Silver Sword line, I think it's called. Sword line, which were their higher end lines. Camco was their low end. So that's what they did there. And that's how that came around. They just called it Camco. Now you're wondering, how did Camco do? Well, like I said, they were a budget knife from Camillus. And they became very well known, brace yourself. Many of the Camco knives were etched. The blades were etched. They were stamped, hot stamped, with customer names and things like that. The most popular was a couple of series they did. I don't know if some of you guys may remember this way back, if you're old enough, or you've seen them. They had characters like the Lone Ranger, Dick Tracy. Those guys, they made promotional knives on them. And you see them around all the time. I've seen them and I thought, who made that? Now I need to go back and have a look. But they had these unusual handles on them with characters. And they were very popular, inexpensive. Companies use them for advertising, giveaways, and that sort of thing. Now, that went on from when they started, like 1948, and they were made at the Camillus factory by the same people that made the fancy upper level knives. In about 1980, 80s sometime, some of the knives were made in Ireland. I don't know if it was Camillus that was making them, but that's all I found out. I mean, they did advertising, not just like Dick Tracy, Daniel Boone, those sort of guys. They also did places of interest like Niagara Falls and things like that. Kind of unusual, but probably smart because they changed the way they made the knives. They made them inexpensive. Companies back in the day, there was a lot of that going on where giveaways, advertising, that sort of thing. Companies loved to give away stuff. Everybody did it. And a lot of companies, hardware stores, department stores, that sort of thing, all did that advertising thing. So that was probably a smart move. So there you go. Now you have a bit of history and you know about as much as I do about these guys. From now on, I'm going to keep an eye out on them. I kind of like the idea of finding them Dick Tracy ones or Lone Ranger. That'd be pretty cool, right? Anyway, we've got to fix these guys. Just a clean polish and shine and sharpen. And this guy, we've got to put that bolster on. I'm starting to see more and more. Well, not see more. Notice more and more these little bolsters. So I'll be keeping an eye out for beaters that I can use for parts. So we're going to take this bolster off, put it on this guy, clean and sharpen, and off we go. I forgot I was working on something else. Hold on. So it's all about timing. So the first thing we're going to do is get this bolster off of here and put it on this guy. It's going to have to set and all that good stuff. So while that's setting and everything, sharp and shiny on this guy. So here's this guy. Now, I really want that bolster, but I don't want to destroy this knife because I think it has a lot of potential. It's a pretty cool knife. Just got to find another pen blade, or maybe two pen blades that match. We've got another knife. So when I take one of these off, I don't want to destroy it. Not sure how I'm going to do that. Let's see what happens. If you look carefully in there, you can see it's got a pin on the bolster. So what I'm going to do is see if I can just knock it out, he says. So in order to get to it, I'm going to take that pin out so everything slides. So we've got to take that out. I'm just going to grind into it with my Dremel, and then we'll poke that out, and then we'll have access. Can pull it out now. You do. There's the little pin we want to get out to get the bolster. Look at that. Came straight out. I bent the bolster. I'll have to straighten that guy. Is that different? It lines up. Oh, I know why. Because it's still bent. But it's a good fit. Ha! Okay, we're getting there. We're in. Ha! Now we can glue it. And let that sit for, I don't know, days. Hoping it's going to hold. Okay, so now we got to get after this guy. And he's in pretty good condition. See that? Blades are pretty good. I mean, there's rust on them and that sort of thing, but we can get most of that off and shine him up. I like this knife. Considering they think it's a budget, we're going to clean up the blades. Start with, you know, the usual story, 1,000, 10,000 mothers, and we'll do that on all the metal. We'll clean her all up, and then these are pretty sharp. I'm going to have to tape them up as I work. See that number? I looked it up. Here's what I found. Ha! Yep, teardrop. Ha! Okay, so here we are after 1000 grit, and it's cleaning up very nice. I like this knife. It was in good condition, so that's always a plus. So now we go to the real stuff, and that is 10,000. Go over everything, everything metal anyway, and then we'll use mothers on it. And I can use mothers on everything. It even enhances the handle. So here we go. Let's see how we did here. It's been sitting on there a couple of hours. Just want to see how it's holding. Get all the excess off a bit so we can see. Seems to be holding. So now we have 4 bolsters. Good start, I think. This guy needs a little bit more work. You can see he got a little rusty, but the blades are still, it's in good condition. A little bit of rust inside. Handle can shine up nicely. It does have advertising on it. You can see it there. It's worn away. I actually think I'm just going to get rid of it and just have it shine yellow. I found information on this guy as well. Here it is here. Let's get the heavy stuff off with 1000. Then we'll go 10 and mothers. And hopefully sharpen them up. So now we go to 10,000. There's a lot of discoloration on here, obviously, from the pitting and the rust. But I'm hoping we'll get most of it off and mothers will clean it up. So here we are at 10,000, and it cleaned up a lot better than I thought it would. Actually got the advertising off without doing any damage. I like this. It's very nice. And we cleaned it up. So now we just have mothers and to sharpen them. And then we'll have a closer look at them when we're all done. And it's late, so that'll be tomorrow morning early. Morning, campers. Here we are. These two little beasties. Now, I went over with 10,000 with them, on all of them. Now we're going to use my favorite, mothers. I really think it does a good job. So here it is here. It's in pretty good shape. And the 10,000 really gets it to starting to really shine. Let's see what mothers does now. Let's put some on there, and you don't even have to press hard. You just give it a good rub. And the nice thing is, you can even sometimes get into the nail nick. And there's a quick rub, and you can see the one thing I've noticed mothers does is it gives it a smoother shine overall. So that's why I like to use it. Now this guy was in really good condition, and the 10,000 did a really good job on it. One thing about mothers, it'll clean this up better. We'll go over it anyway with mothers and see how we do. Looking good. I've had a lot of comments on sharpening. I am no expert, not even close. I'm just happy to get a blade reasonably sharp that'll work for me. But a lot of people have been saying that my angles are wrong. Now I use one angle for everything, 17 degrees. So that's typically how I set up. The important part is to make sure that your blade is level, and then adjust this for your. If you look at that, 3.2 degrees. Put the blade in, and here's what everybody says. I'm at 1 there. If I move on to the actual edge of the blade, right there, it's 1.4 down. Okay, so for this to be at 17 degrees on that, what do I need? I'm assuming this is parallel with the rod. It's on the edge of the blade and it's saying it's 16 degrees. I'm close enough there. 17 degrees. That's to the edge of the blade. But I'm thinking if I'm within 1 or 2 degrees, I'm pretty good. This is not a precision thing. It's a pocket knife. So I'm happy with that. By the way, I also get questions on what system am I using. I will show you this now. And they have a couple, and it's, I want to say Zarok is what it's called. They're on Amazon, and they have like 3 or 4 different ones. This is their portable version. I found it to be the best for small pocket knives. The other one's a little bit too big, clumsy for a pocket knife. If you're doing fixed blades only, I would recommend the other ones. This is portable, works fine for me. I've even done fixed blades on it, so it works fine. Sorry, no expert. Let me know what you think. So, I'm assuming it's close enough to 17. These blades are in pretty good condition, and they kind of sort of sharp. Normally, if they were pretty bad and needed a good sharpening, I would start with 320 grit. And that get that even edge. And then I go to 800. This one, I'm just going to start with 800. And I'm just going to give it a couple of sweeps so I can see what the edge looks like. It's pretty consistent except on here, which you see a lot of, but it'll clean up after a while. So I'll just sweep it until I feel I have a good even edge on there. Some people prefer to do this. It really doesn't make any difference, I don't think. I just feel I'm more consistent if I sweep one way and keep it that way. Okay, that looks pretty good. With this system, you just pull and turn and don't get your handle behind it. And then just repeat, looking for that even edge along it. Now this edge is way different, especially along here, which we saw on the other side, but it's more obvious here. So I'm just gonna keep working until I get that even edge on it. Don't do this. Go halfway, lift. Otherwise you're gonna round that tip off. And me, I'm almost consistent. And then you're looking for that peel, I don't know what the real name is, where that steel is peeling over, where you've got a really fine edge. Not much down here. I like to have it all the way across so you can feel it. If I flip it over and rub it a couple of times, it'll get away with that peel, but it'll probably start to form on the other side. And you can hear the difference. The peel is gone, you can hear it. Don't really feel much there. Now I like to strop, so I feel I'm done here. I'm gonna strop. Stropping really doesn't do anything to the metal. All it does is gets rid of that peel and just leaves you with a finer, sharp edge. And a couple of strops. I tend to go where I think it's pretty close to where I was sharpening. And then on this side. And what you're doing is getting rid of that peel. And you know what? When you fold metal back and forth, it will fall off. Well, this is so fine. Feels pretty good. Let's give it a quick taste. For me, for what my uses are, that's sharp enough for me. All right, my rant's over. I'm going to do the same on the other one, the 2 blades on that one, and then we set. There we go. I eventually get it right. Just oil them so I'm just getting all the excess off. Here's this guy here. And you can see it's just a simple, it's not even a 2-blade jack. It's a single blade jack with a tool. And it cleaned up very nice. The bolster worked out that was missing. I think it was that one. And you can see the end. Mother's does a good job. And you remember it had the advertising on it. Well, I used some really fine sandpaper and worked it off because half of it was missing. And I have tried to refill it before, but I have to find the right paint to use to fill it, because I've tried that, let it dry, sand over lightly, but it pulls the paint out. And never been very successful at it, so I just took this off. Nice and shiny. And as you saw, we got him sharp. And, you know, this one had a lot of pitting on it. Well, not a lot, but more than the other one. Camco USA. Told you about that. Very nice. Love this. It's got that spear point, flat screwdriver, bottle opener. It's kind of a half utility jack. Very nice. I like these. For budget knives, wow. And then there's this guy. Love this knife. Look at that. It really cleaned up nicely. Just needed a good polish, shine, and a sharpen. I know you guys that go hunting and that you want something really sharp, fixed blade. Different story. You want to be able to really slice through that meat and, you know, prepare your hunt. So with me, I'm cutting paper, cardboard, string. It's a little pocket knife for me. And I'm shocked that they were budget. Somebody said to me, do you want this or an Imperial? I'm going with this. Just more solid. So there you go. 2 Camcos. Who would have thought, right? Very nice. Very nice. They shined up nicely. You all be safe out there. You know the story. You know, people ask me, why do you always say that? Well, you can't be too safe. They're sharp. They sting. And you can get into some real trouble if you're not careful. And I'm not just talking folders, especially the fixed blades, axes, hatchets, saws. They're all sharp. One slip and you're in the emergency room. So I like to remind people. And I feel if I do it enough, more people will be more safe. Just saying. And don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You know the story. Pretty sure I'll be back. Got these guys done. You know my project box. I'm about to look at the comments to see what I'm going to do next. Because why? I'm too lazy to choose and I asked you guys to. So let's have a look, see what happens there. You did probably see my Mary video. Just thought I'd share it with everybody. I really want to start camping more again. And like I said, I'm trying to figure out a mobile man cave. Mary might as well be there, right? Thanks for watching. Always appreciate it. We'll see you again.